Okay, what I'm going to be drawing here is a serious set of abs. Drawing comic books, you always want to draw heroes, and it's real important that they look muscular and strong. But what's also more important is that your heroes have accurate muscle groups. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin by drawing the basic shape of a torso. Draw these kind of access lines that help me establish the area I'm going to be working in. And I use these angular lines to help me establish the angles. Now, when drawing the torso or muscles, it's real important that you want to break it into sections. You don't want to try to draw everything at once. You want to simplify it for yourself. So I start with the rib cage. On top of the rib cage you have pectorals. Of the pectorals you have, I guess it's the collarbone. And then right here beneath the rib cage you have the abs. Now I'm going to the abdominals. I'm going to put in a basic kind of rectangular shape to start off with. Then you have the lower part of the rib cage, and then or down here you have the external oblique. Okay, so let's focus on this area. I'm actually going to break it into parts. So I have my first set of abdominals, and then the second set, and then the two lower groups down there. Okay, I'm going to acknowledge the arm just a little bit, but right now we're working on the torso, so I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on the arms. Okay, at this stage I have a really rough, kind of sketchy drawing. What I want to do now is start to reinforce some of these lines and to put in some shadows, because the shadows are going to make this torso seem like a solid object. So you want to think about where your lights and darks are. Okay. I'm just using a number 2 pencil for this. Notice I'm using the side of the pencil. Oh. Okay. Now that I have my rough line work in, I'm going to sharpen up some of these lines. Notice how the pectoral kind of comes up and then over, and then the arm sits in front of the rib cage. So the rib cage kind of goes beneath, and then you have the arm here. So there's little things you want to notice. It's real important to have really good reference. So you can get like anatomy for artist books, or even like weightlifter books to help you draw your superheroes. Shadows. So just kind of doing a rough drawing of a muscular torso. And it's good to study the muscles if you're going to draw comic books, because you want your superheroes that you're drawing to look muscular and accurate and more believable. Okay, I'm going to switch over to an ink pen, so show up a little better on camera. Just kind of going over my lines. Right now with the ink pen, I'm gonna hatch in some shadows. I use these hatch lines. You want the hatch lines to kind of follow the direction of the object. A lot of shadow in the pit area there. I want the light to come from this direction. So learning how to shade and where to shade is really important. Shadows create the illusion of mass and depth, and they make your drawings seem solid and more believable. They create the illusion of 3 dimensions. Okay, that's about as far as I want to take this. This is a nice little study of the muscles, different muscle groups. You can never practice enough. The more you practice drawing the muscles, you'll start to memorize them, and you'll become a better comic book artist for it. So, have fun drawing.